All right, so we're back and ready to get into it. We've got a really interesting one today, folks.
Yeah, looking forward to this one.
Bharti Airtel's Q3 FY25 report. Hot off the presses, right?
Hmm.
You guys sent us over their press release and the results, summary, and, well, let me just say, there's a lot to dig into here.
Definitely a lot of numbers.
But don't worry, that's what we're here
Oh,
for.
no, all right.
We're going to break it all down, figure out what's actually important, what it means for Airtel, what it means for the Indian telecom landscape, the whole 9 yards.
And maybe uncover a few surprises along the way.
Exactly. So, first things first, that 19.1% year-over-year revenue growth.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a huge jump. What's fueling that kind of surge?
Well, India's economy is doing pretty well overall, so that definitely plays a role.
Right, a rising tide and all that.
Exactly, but Airtel's also been making some smart moves. Well, their growth in Africa has been steady. They've been putting in the work there for a while now, and then there's the whole Indus Towers consolidation that's had an impact for sure.
Okay, makes sense. But let's zoom in on India for a second, because their revenue there is up even more, like
Yeah.
24.6%.
Yeah, they're really killing it in their home market.
So what's the secret sauce?
Mobile services are still their bread and butter, and those revenues are way up, like 21.4% year over year.
Wow.
And there are a few reasons for that. The recent tariff increases have helped, but they've also added a ton of new smartphone users this quarter.
Like how many we're talking?
A whopping 25.2 million?
Seriously.
Yeah. And on top of that, people are switching to those higher value data plans, the ones that cost a bit more.
So it's not just about adding users, it's about attracting the right kind of users.
You got it. That's what they call quality customers in the report.
Right, right. And I see they're also talking about this ARPU thing. What's that all about?
ARPU, yeah, that stands for average revenue per user, basically how much money they're making per customer.
Okay.
And theirs jumped up significantly from Rs 208 to Rs 245.
Whoa, that's a pretty big jump.
It is. It shows that their strategy of focusing on those higher paying customers is working.
Makes sense. So mobile is clearly a big win for them, but what about their homes business? I noticed that's doing pretty well too.
Oh, yeah, they're crushing it there too. Their home broadband and internet services are up 18.7% year over year.
No kidding.
And get this, they added a record 674,000 new customers just this quarter.
Wow, they're on a roll. What's driving that growth?
Well, their push into fixed wireless access, or FWA as they call it, has been a big factor.
FWA, huh? What's that all about?
It's basically using cellular technology to deliver broadband-like internet speeds to homes without needing those traditional cable connections.
So kind of like a wireless alternative to cable.
Exactly. And it seems to be resonating with customers, especially in a market like India where cable infrastructure can be a bit patchy.
Yeah, that makes sense. So they're really hitting that sweet spot between mobile and home internet, capturing a wider audience.
They are. It's smart. They're recognizing that people's connectivity needs are changing, and they're adapting their offerings to meet those demands.
All right, so we've talked about revenue growth, we've talked about mobile and home internet, but now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the financials. The report mentions EBITDA and EBITDA, and I've got to be honest, those acronyms always make my head spin a little.
Haha. Yeah, they can be a mouthful.
Can you break it down for us simple folks?
Sure. So EBITDA, that's a pretty standard measure of profitability, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Right. Yeah.
But Airtel is also highlighting this EBITDA, which is basically EBITDA after lease adjustments.
Lease adjustments.
Basically, they're treating lease obligations like regular expenses, so it gives a clearer picture of their actual financial health.
So it's like if you own a shop, you got to factor in the rent you're paying, right?
Exactly. You got to look
Yeah.
at the whole picture, and that's what EBITDA does.
Okay, that makes sense. And how are they doing on both those metrics?
Pretty well, actually. They're seeing strong growth in both EBITDA and EBITDA, and their margins are improving too.
So they're managing their costs well, even while growing their revenue like crazy.
It's impressive. It shows they're not just growing for the sake of growing. They're doing it sustainably and profitably.
That's a good sign,
Yeah.
for sure. It suggests they're in a good position for the long haul.
Definitely something to keep an eye on as we move forward.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but there's still so much more to unpack.
Oh, yeah, we're just getting started.
We'll be back soon to dive deeper into Airtel's strategy, their plans for 5G, and what it all means for the future of the Indian telecom landscape.
Stay tuned, folks. It's going to be a wild ride.
Don't go anywhere. It really does. It seems like they're thinking long-term, not just chasing short-term gains.
Exactly. They're building a solid foundation, and that's clear from their investments not just in FWA, but in network expansion, too.
Yeah, they're adding new towers, laying down more fiber optic cables. That's a pretty big bet on the future.
It is, but it's a necessary one, you know? Data consumption in India is only going up.
Right, everyone's streaming movies, playing games, video calling.
Exactly. And this infrastructure build-out is crucial for handling that demand. Plus, it sets them up nicely for 5G.
Ah, 5G, the magic word. Everyone's talking about it, but it still feels a bit far off.
It's coming, though, faster than you think, and Airtel's getting ready.
So what's their strategy there?
Well, they're acquiring spectrum, building out their 5G network, partnering with other companies, basically making sure they're ready when the 5G wave hits.
Smart move. 5G is going to be huge, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about faster downloads, it's about connecting everything from cars to appliances to, well, pretty much anything you can imagine.
The Internet of Things, right.
Exactly. And Airtel wants to be a major player in that space.
It's exciting stuff, but while they're busy prepping for the future, they're not neglecting the present either, right? I mean, that AI-powered anti-spam tool they're talking about, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a big one. Blocking millions of spam calls and messages every day, that's something everyone can appreciate.
For sure. Nobody likes spam. It's so annoying.
Right. And it shows that Airtel is really focused on customer experience. They're not just about the tech, they're about making people's lives better.
And they're partnering with content providers like ZE5 and Glance too, right?
Yep, they're offering value-added services, trying to create a more well-rounded digital experience.
So it's like they're becoming this one-stop shop for everything digital, not just a telecom company anymore.
Exactly. It's a trend we're seeing across the industry. Telecom companies are becoming more like digital lifestyle platforms.
Interesting. So they're adapting to the changing times. That's good to see. But what about their Airtel business segment? We talked about the challenges they're facing there.
Right, they're seeing slower growth in that area, partly due to the global economic situation, but also because the market is changing.
How so?
Well, businesses aren't just looking for basic connectivity anymore. They need more sophisticated solutions, things like cloud computing, cybersecurity, data analytics.
So Airtel needs to step up their game, offer more than just the basic stuff.
Exactly. And they're doing that. They're shifting their focus to these higher margin digital offerings, becoming more of a strategic tech partner for businesses.
It's like they're going from selling landlines to offering high-speed internet.
Right.
A necessary evolution.
Spot on. They're realizing that the future of their business segment lies in providing these advanced solutions.
It's a bold move, but it seems like the right one if they want to stay competitive.
Definitely. They're betting on the future, and so far, it seems like a pretty good bet.
They're really in the thick of it, aren't they? It's not just about keeping up anymore. It's about leading the way.
And that's what they're doing, at least from what we're seeing in this report.
Yeah, their performance this quarter is pretty impressive, all things considered. Strong growth in mobile, doing well in their home services, and making these strategic investments for the future, like 5G and those business solutions we talked about.
And it all points to this idea of constant evolution, right? They're not standing still. They're adapting and innovating.
Right, and a big part of that is how they're connecting to this whole digital transformation happening in India. I mean, think about it. Millions of people are coming online for the first time. Everyone wants more data, faster speeds.
Intel's right there meeting those demands, becoming more than just a telecom company.
Exactly. They're like a digital lifestyle hub now, offering content, financial services, everything. It's all connected.
It's all part of this bigger picture, this convergence we're seeing, where telecom companies are becoming these multifaceted digital platforms.
Yeah, and their move towards those high-value business solutions, that's a big part of that shift too, right?
Yeah. Definitely. They're recognizing that the future is about more than just providing basic connectivity. It's about offering these sophisticated, tailored solutions that businesses need to thrive in this digital world.
It's smart. They're playing the long game, and it seems to be paying off.
It is, and it's a good lesson for all of us. The world is changing, and we have to adapt with it, just like Airtel's doing.
Absolutely. So why does all this matter to our listeners? Why should they care about Airtel's journey?
Well, it's a reflection of the bigger picture, right? The digital revolution is happening all around us. It's changing how we live, how we work, how we connect with each other.
And Airtel's a prime example of how companies are navigating that change, how they're innovating, taking risks, and ultimately shaping the future of this digital landscape.
It's a reminder that we're all part of this evolution, whether we realize it or not.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with something to think about. How is the digital revolution impacting your life? What role do you see yourself playing in this rapidly changing world? It's something to ponder, folks, because it's not just Airtel's story, it's all of our stories.
And it's just getting started. There's so much more to come, so buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Bharti Airtel's world. It's been a fascinating journey, and we hope you found it insightful. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the trends shaping our world.